Welcome to Easy Vegetarian. I'm Autumn Conley, and I'm alongside Judson Bisher.
Hi.
And today we're going to discuss some of the different types of vegetarianism there is and the differences between all of them because people get really confused. So we're going to inform you guys a little bit today.
So there are several types of vegetarians, or several different categories that someone could classify themselves as. The most inclusive that most people know about is just a regular vegetarian who eat plant foods. And like fruits. They don't eat animal foods, including fish, eggs, dairy products, and honey. That's pretty much it. The basic vegetarian that most people hear of.
Yeah, sometimes people call them like strict vegetarians, but
Yeah.
honestly, you could just a vegetarian. That's what that would be considered.
Yep.
Vegans, of course, is one of the other most common ones, and vegans don't have any. They don't do any type of animal byproducts, which of course includes milk, cheese, eggs. But they also omit any type of animal skins from their clothing, from their purses, from their bags,
Cars.
anything. Some people say extremists, but they just have certain feelings about certain things, and they chose to live that way. So good for them.
Yep. A lot of people seem to get vegans and vegetarians confused, I think.
They
or
do.
You hear it's kind of like a bad stereotype, but I always hear like people from Nebraska who tend to come from farms say, "Oh, them vegans." Them vegans.
And I think people don't realize that there is a big difference between just a vegetarian and a vegan.
Yeah, and it even comes down to like vegans. I remember reading something once a long time ago about cars that vegans buy, and that they won't buy a new car if it has leather, but they'll buy a used car if it has leather, because they don't count it as byproduct because someone already purchased the leather.
So they're not purchasing it new.
So I mean, I don't know if that even has if veganism has its own category, because they're that could even apply to clothes, I'm sure, where they could go to a thrift store and buy a leather jacket but wouldn't count it because someone before them had already bought it.
I wonder if there's different. Of course, we're breaking down the different types of vegetarianism there is, but also I wonder if there's subcategories of vegans in general. Because I'm sure
there are.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, and those are probably way more complicated to talk about and explain, especially if you don't firsthand know all about them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's vegans that literally will not touch any type of leather.
Yep.
Whereas there could be some
who are more lenient. Also, people think that vegans are a lot less nutritious, a lot less healthy, but I mean, if you do it right, it's probably the most healthy out of all the vegetarian options.
Mm-hmm. I think it could be the most balanced because there is more, there's so many more soy products out there that people don't realize.
Mm-hmm. Or rice.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that are vegetarian, they're so focused on finding meals that they ate before with meat, just taking the meat out. And vegans kind of rebalance their entire diet.
Yeah.
And I think obviously that's going to be more healthy.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So another type they're called Lacto Vegetarians. They include dairy products into their diet food. So it would just be a vegetarian who not only eats plants but also drinks milk, eats ice cream, cheese.
That would be me.
The good stuff.
I am that kind. Are you, Judd? You're that kind too, are you? No.
Partly.
Oh, hang on. We'll get to him later. I know. I just realized. I'm sorry, guys. I just realized what he was.
That sounds weird.
But,
what he was.
What he is. But I am a lacto vegetarian. I love my milk, and I love some cheese, but I do not eat eggs. So that is the difference actually between lacto-ovo vegetarians and lacto vegetarians. Lacto-ovo eat eggs and milk and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Lacto just, eat milk, eat cheese, or drink milk, eat cheese. They do not touch eggs. So there's really the only difference I would say between those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any difference besides eggs.
Besides eggs, yeah.
Yeah. The kind that I am is called pesco vegetarians, or just a slang name, pescatarian. Yeah. So that means that I eat fish, So I will eat like shrimp and stuff, or salmon, whatever type of fish, along with just plant foods. I just keep red meats and chicken, poultry, whatever, out of my diet.
And then the next kind on our list is a Polo Vegetarian. And I actually was a Polo Vegetarian for about 3 to 4 years. I made an agreement with my parents in high school that I would add chicken to my diet, so I got a little extra protein. So I could play sports, and, you know, they were worried about my health, which is their parents, so whatever. But, and then I decided, you know, to go back to how I used to be. You don't eat any meat, even if it's not red meat. So, but Polo Vegetarians eat poultry usually. More people think of it as chicken, but also they would eat turkey or something. Duck, it says on our little list, it says chicken, turkey, or duck. I only ate chicken, but I guess there's kinds that would eat turkey too, and duck as well.
The next type is called fruitarians, who only eat fruits, nuts, and seeds.
No bueno.
No. This would probably be one of the most unhealthy types of vegetarianism. Unless of course they're taking enough supplements and additives, which would be hard. It's hard to survive off of just those food groups.
I'm going to go on a little rant. By the way, no matter what type of vegetarianism you decide to be, or even if you're not, supplements are never the way you should go to get your nutrients.
No.
And so obviously it'll be extra hard for fruitarians to get nutrients because you shouldn't rely on supplements. They're not natural. And first off, if you're a fruitarian, you want to be all natural.
Yeah.
So they're probably not even taking
supplements.
They're
probably not. Also, I guess if you're going to go on one of the more stricter ones, you should also go talk to a nutritionist or even your doctor just to see. Yeah,
make sure you want to know how to start up that rebalanced new diet that you're starting up. I have actually been to the nutritionist a few times throughout my 10 years of being a vegetarian.
I've been once, but...
I had worrisome, well, I shouldn't say worrisome parents, I should say a worrisome mom.
Yep.
And once in junior high, and then I remember in high school when I decided to cut that chicken back out of my life, she was like, well, we're going to a nutritionist then. So we went.
I went the one time in high school.
Yep. So,
Did you have a good experience?
You know what, I did, but, and I'm sure this isn't, I shouldn't stereotype nutritionists, but the nutritionist I spoke to was back home, so she's not here, no worries. But she kind of, she treated me almost like I didn't know what I was getting myself into, dumbing it down, which...
Especially being in high school, I felt the same way.
Yeah, it's like you're just doing this because it's a fad.
Yeah.
No, I do not believe that vegetarianism is a fad. I'm sure some people do it for the wrong reasons. I had done it, 6 years by the time I went to the nutritionist. I think I know what I got myself into.
Yeah.
But... to each his own.
It's also kind of awkward.
Yeah. Well, and, they're worried about your weight.
It is important to do.
Yeah. They will ultimately, their goal is to make sure that you're going to have a healthy, balanced diet, which is great. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you go in there open-minded.
Yep.
Always.
Everything open-minded.
Yeah. And I'll also give a shout out to our very last radio segment we're going to have at the end of the semester. I'm actually going to ask a local nutritionist, to come in and have a little chit chat. So you'll get to hear their side of things and the benefits, maybe what they believe isn't a benefit of vegetarianism, but we'll have that in a few weeks. So stay tuned.
Okay. And then there's the final type.
Flexitarians. Usually people whom consider themselves flexitarians don't ever tell anyone, oh, I'm a flexitarian. Yeah. They normally just say, oh, I only eat meat on the weekends. Or, oh, I eat red meat every couple weeks.
I hear it as usually it's like a joke, like, oh, I'm a flexitarian.
Yeah. That's normally a title you're not going to hear someone say, oh, I am a flexitarian for real.
Yeah.
Not just kidding. But that's pretty much what it revolves around is they only eat meat every once in a while. They might not really have a reason. Maybe they just don't like meat. Or maybe it's a religious thing. But, that's as simple as that. That's pretty much what a flexitarian is.
Yep.
So, do you have anything you want to add to this short little radio segment, Judd?
I guess, like, when you hear about vegetarianism, most people probably don't realize there's all these different types of vegetarianism.
Yeah, very true.
Most people probably just think about vegans and total vegetarians, or just vegetarians, the first one we talked about.
Yeah, and on the same note as that is, like, when your friends, you tell them you're vegetarian, and then, like, I know in your case this might happen to you, when someone sees you eat fish, they'll be like, oh, you're such a hypocrite. No, there's different kinds. You have to, like, explain it to them, and they don't really necessarily want to hear it.
Yep.
So keep that in mind if you have a friend that says they're vegetarian. Maybe they don't want to call themselves a pescatarian.
Yeah, and also, like, going off of that, we talked about this on the first radio segment, that there's tons of different reasons that people are vegetarians, but most people jump first to animal rights. So, like, for me, for example, I'm a pescatarian because the meat industry is not very good for the environment, like we talked about last time, while on the other hand, the fish industry isn't as destructive to the environment, if even at all, if you get your fish locally.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, don't jump to conclusions about that they're doing it for animal rights and then, but you're eating fish.
Yeah.
And I know there's even some people who don't consider fish an animal. Have you ever heard that?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, some people don't consider fish animals.
That's weird.
Yeah, so that's how they justify eating it, if they base it off of animal rights.
Oh, I don't think that's right. I think those people need to get more educated.
Yeah,
let's just be honest.
It's a little strange.
I don't know, but I mean, they're doing it. People do it for lots of reasons. Some make sense.
Yeah.
Some are never gonna make sense to you. So it's okay. They're doing it. It's their life, But it's always nice to be able to have an intelligent conversation about it versus just being like
being defensive about like that's what bugs me too about people. Like, the strange ones are how defensive they are about it, and they come off as kind of like rude sometimes.
Yeah. And some of those people don't really know how to justify why they are the way they are, which, just get more educated, and then you'll have a better, explanation almost.
Yep.
I don't know. The last thing I would say is, going off of what you said, the kind of the stereotyping, I would say to make sure that if you have those friends that are vegetarians or are vegans, instead of, arguing with them about why they chose to do it in the first place, I mean, ask them why they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Because their opinion could have changed and they still chose to be vegetarian, or whatever kind of vegetarian they are. Ask them.
Yeah. There
are different kinds.
And ultimately it's their choice.
Yeah.
So
if you want to get informed, just talk. Yeah. Don't fight.
That goes to both sides too.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're vegetarian, don't get super defensive because your friend eats meat.
And don't push it on other people if they don't.
Yeah. I agree 100%. But that's all I had for you today.
Yep, same here.
Same here. Well, we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
This was Easy Vegetarian, and stay tuned for next week's discussion.